Good morning. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we are here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's in the house, and we are excited. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and I want to give a shout out to my partner, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva, who is on the road today. And so we just wish her well in her travels. In addition to that, we want to say hi to everybody listening on the replay and those of you who are watching live. So sit back, let's relax and find out what to do about our money from Coach Caren from the Money Mind Academy. Hey, Coach, what's happening?
Good. Thank you for the intro. Thank you for the intro. Oh boy, could you believe it? Today is the beginning of the second day, the second
Mm.
month of the year. We're in February. Okay, guys?
Second month, first quarter.
Second month, first quarter. So, whatever you've been setting out to do, get it done. Don't be delaying. Get it done. Today, we're talking about tracking,
Mm-hmm.
keeping track. And I tell you guys, it started since last year talking to you about, we talk about planning and what have you. And I went through the planning that I was teaching you guys. And I started my 14-month year. And anytime I go back and look in my journal and I'm thinking about what I didn't accomplish, when I look at the journal, it really have me happily dancing. I'm like, Caren, look at what we've done. Look at where we've been. Even when we got pitfalls. And I want you to know, guys, before I start talking today, I fall off the wagon. Things didn't work out how I planned it. Life happens, but it's to get back up and do it. That's what it is. Like things happen. This is not me telling you that you're going to have this straight road. Plus, if you had a straight road, it would be so boring. You need these ups and downs. It helps you. It helps you
Okay.
keep entertained. It helps keep you on point. It helps correct whatever is happening and helps you to see that you can do more than you think you can do. So don't dismiss this. Okay. This is a
Mm-hmm.
vital part of growing yourself and your business because it's not your business alone, it's you and your business. When you really understand that, it helps you. You know, social media really can make your heart pitter patter, and you could be really worried sometimes when you post and there's no likes. But if you were doing this just for you, the likes wouldn't matter. It's a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I
Mm-hmm.
tell parents, stop saying I'm running this business for my kids. They're getting the benefit of it, but run the business for yourself. If you love making pillows, make pillows for you. Enjoy making the pillows, and people will jump on who love pillows, who love covers, who love whatever they love. And then the financial reward is for you and your family. Don't focus on the people so much and if they're going to buy the pillow. Enjoy it for
Mm-hmm.
you. This is why we talk about living a purpose, doing it because you love to do it, because you can do it for a long time without needing outside just keep you going. You can keep at it. You can keep perfecting it. You can keep getting better at it, understanding what you need and what you need to learn. Okay. So today we're talking about habit tracking, and we're going to look at a few things. How do you decide what to track? Because you don't want to track everything at once.
Mm.
It's send you crazy. Okay. You
Yes.
decide to track. And how do you forgive yourself when it doesn't go as planned, as I just said?
Mm.
And what are you using to see this progress? You know, like there's a bunch of things you could do. So we'll talk about things that you can get into and use
Okay.
to track yourself. You know, pen and paper is the beginning. All right, but let's get to it. So how do you decide what to track? You know, everybody at the beginning of the year talk about their health. So that's what people go for is the gym.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
money's not coming in as they like, how am I gonna make money? That's another thing they might want to track. So they might want to track health and money, and then they might want to track um, mental health because it's not only going to the gym but the mental health part of things. So a lot of people are talking about that, and that should always be within the health bracket. But sometimes we do have to take it aside and really examine it. Friend and I was talking about it last week about working out, not because you want to, but because it's good for your mental space. Not because he wants to walk, but he's walking because he know he get clarity after he's finished walking, after he come in from that walk, and get the fresh air and sun or rain, he walks
Mm.
because it is good for his mental health. He's seen a difference. He's been in a lot
Mm.
of stuff happen and he's seen the difference. So we're talking about how important that is. So decide on three things, especially for this first quarter. Decide on the three things that you want to track and just keep track of it, right? and
Okay.
where you're at. So I'm tracking my money, what's supposed to come in. So I'm going to talk a little about money, right? Let's start off right there because, I talk about money. So let's talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
If you were tracking how much money you spent last year for food, or even if you just have an average of it, you don't have to have everything. This is what I want you to hear. But if you have at least some inkling of it, go in there and analyze. I talked about it last year, the full year budget. Last year, I think around the same year, I was talking about budgeting, right? And if you were paying attention, you were keeping your bills so that you can have this yearly budget that I preach about, which is so darn important. You know, you would start seeing, well, hey, I spend $6,000 a year on food, and even if it's frightening to you, you know that that's what you spend. Just giving a rough example, and that's maybe covering cooking food at home, going out to restaurants,
Mm.
getting fast food. You know this is where you're spending. So it's not this crazy notion to you when you spend it. When your body is not jumping because you do something, you're way more relaxed to be practical about the matter and not freak out.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you freak out, you go this high, and it takes a while for you to come back down into reality land. With some people, take days. When they get a sticker number. But if you start analyzing, if you didn't do it, don't fret. But do it this year. Every bill that come in from the grocery, keep it. Add
Mm.
it up at the end of the year. I love doing that. Just like I did do with my utility bills at the end of the year, everything is ready. So mine is ready the second week as the year begins, ready for our tax guy. Everything is set up and ready to go. Everything is thing. And since I'm doing it for him, I do it also for myself with other. Everything about the home I do together. I really think if you start running your home as a business, your life will be so much easier.
I know this sounds really basic, but you know what? I've never kept a spreadsheet of my bills. And I'm thinking, wow, if I just kept a spreadsheet starting in January, I'd have it all on one
One
place.
place.
Wow.
Mhm.
I know the audience must say she is really missing it. But I just realized, wow, I could just start a basic chart.
Basic chart. That's it. You don't have to, and you start feeling. I tell people, if you're doing this by October, you plan in October, you're ready to do Christmas gifts. You're not waiting for December. You're not rushing anymore. You've
Hmm.
got things, you're always ahead of your game and you feel so relaxed. Like December passed, I had myself so lined up that this was such a great Christmas for us because everything was just, I was surprised how finished I was so early. I'm not gonna even lie. Like I did it great last year, but this year I think I did it better. And
Mm-hmm.
last year before the last I did it great. Last year was really good. So I can imagine what we're gonna have for the rest of the years. That I'm so streamlined that it's just a lineup. This is what's gonna happen, and this is what we're doing. And so anytime my brain or I start going out to work, I'm like, well, I don't really have to worry because I just pull up my Excel and I'm like, oh, so there it is. That's what's going on. This is what's coming in. This is what's going out. This is what we're doing. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to be flustered, but this is the other steps I want to take. And how do I go about doing that? And so I get in there and do that. And if it doesn't show up right away, I'm telling you guys this because if the money doesn't show up right away, it doesn't change what you plan.
Mm.
Don't go crazy saying, well, I want to make $5,000 a month and I didn't make it, Karen. Well, no, I want to make 5,000 this month. And if every month was a 5,000 month that you're looking forward to, do not change it because there's going to be a month where you're going to make 10,000. There's going to be a
Mhm.
month you're going to make more. You're going to make up for it because now you're working towards it. All the work you're putting in today, you're going to see results tomorrow. You're going to see it the next day and the next day. So don't be discouraged. Whether you're working out, there's this 58-year-old lady that was talking about it. She says, I started working out, and a 60-year was talking about, she started working out at 60. She was 69. She says, I could only do one push-up, and I would just do one push-up a day, and I wouldn't tell anybody, but I'll track it. And she said within a week, I was doing two push-ups. So now that I tell people I do 50 push-ups or 75, they're amazed. But I started with one. And
There you
that's
go.
key. If all you can save is $10, save $10. That's it. And have it on your tracker that you save $10 when you get paid.
Do
Put
not
it there.
despise small beginnings. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I love Little Dribble. So it's just you do that, and then in the food budget you might want to have the holiday budget. In the because you spend a little bit more because where you might
Mhm.
want to entertain and stuff. And if you want to put Thanksgiving in there, so you would name it. This is my Thanksgiving budget. This is my Christmas budget, and you have everything in there, and you add the total. I can afford to do this. This is where my money lies. This is what I can do. And you can top it up a little extra. I promise you, every year you'll have more left over than you think, because you're always going to plan for a little bit more than you need to spend if you're paying attention. That is if you're paying attention. So you're keeping track of that. Again, with your health, you guys know I had talked about it. I don't put it up now, but I still keep track. Like I have a calendar in my washroom, like a physical calendar, because I need to see it. And so that's my self-care calendar. So it have my workout on it. It have my plants, routine, watering, because it's something that makes me smile. So I like,
Okay.
plants shine. So that's on there. And it has where I take a bath, where I do my pedicures. It talk about my hair. It's everything that encompasses what makes me feel good,
Self-care.
enjoy. So that is what I track. I keep, and I track that with stickers, because I'm happy when, I had a full week of good workout. The stickers go up. I have teddy bear, something is pumping me up. I like that. So that's what I have. You could have whatever you want, but you're tracking that. Just like I just talk about the money, right? And mental health. What are you doing for that? Are you reading? Are you resting? Are you meditating? Or you really truly just spending a lot of time just being quiet? So it can quiet you down. You can have that peace. Not everybody can go by the river and get peace, or some people can't go outside to get peace. So find some mental space, clarity time where you're not thinking. And again, like anything with tracking, when you first want peace and quiet, it is very, 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 can I say very hard. It's like reading your Bible for the first time is the hardest thing. One of the hardest things you'll ever do is pick up your Bible and read it. You want to go to sleep. You don't want you. It's confusing. You don't know
Yes.
what's happening.
We'll put
You got to grow past it. You got to grow past it. So track it. So get in there, like I want to read my Bible this year. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to read, and I'm going to read, and I might have to reread. Be okay with that. And you're tracking, maybe you want to look after your spiritual tracking. This year for me, it's not only reading my Bible, but I really want to get into doing more Bible work. So there's the book that I bought that I'm going to be journaling and want to do some real in-depth Bible studies for my own learning interest, because last year I learned a lot of things that I now want to go in deeper with it. So that's what I want to do this year. So that's something I'm going to be tracking. And that's what I'm looking into. And it's making me feel better because I'm there, and that's what I want to do. So whatever it is you want to track, find a couple of things and track it.
Okay.
Be on it. Be for it. Understand where you're at. If you want to move, it's a financial thing. I don't care how it's an emotional thing. It's a financial thing. If you want to buy a house, it's a financial thing. So get yourself and get your mind wrapped around that. And number two is, how do you forgive yourself when you fall off the wagon? Well, you forgive yourself by jumping back on.
I love it. I love it.
I'm not going in a circle. You got to jump back on. You got to get it back. Whatever you ever do when you were little, think about it that way. I used to be a dancer, and when I couldn't dance because I'd burned my whole left leg for months, when I went back to dance, I was stiff. It was hard, but I just got in there and do it. That's what you got to do, guys. You got to get in there and you got to do it. No matter what's going on, you get in there and do it, and start again small. Whatever you do, if you want to wake up at 5 in the morning and you can't, wake up at 7, then 6:30, then 6 o'clock, then 5:30, then 5 o'clock, and so on until you get there. Put your alarm clock on. Excuse me. When I was having a difficult time waking up, I'd listen to this broadcaster, and she said, I have 3 alarms, one by my bed, one further in the room, and one in my washroom. And she says, I had them at 3 different times. And she would
So she had to eventually get up and answer that one in the washroom because it was just persistent.
Yes. And she said she'd go to the washroom, she'd wash her face. But she said, when I got the job, I was pumped. But when I had to get up, she said it was so difficult to get up. And she said, those help her. Some people say, well, I got up without alarm. She said, that wasn't me. I had to get up and pump myself. I had to do it. And so whatever it is you need to do, you might fall down. And let me tell you, the first time you plan it to do it, you're going to fall down. When I decided on the 1st of November to start this tracking, the first day I got sick. The first day. The first day I got sick last year in November. I was feeling sick for a whole week. And I think my iron did drop because I was feeling really weak. And I tell you, the minute that happened, I was starting to build on top of it. And I sat myself down and I said, Caren, are you this weak, or are you feeling this sick? Or are you feeling sorry for yourself right now? Is this a sabotaging move that's happening? And I decided to take a day off and just ask myself these questions and like take a deep breath and then answer the questions. I goes, is it get myself back on track? Because I start seeing that, hey, because you're starting something new, this is what's going to happen. You're expecting it, so it's showing up. And so I switch it around and say, well, I'm not expecting to get sick. I'm not expecting to not do it. But I would write literally. So once I did that, I get to my journal now and I start writing in my journal. This is what has happened, but I'm not allowing it to do this to me. This were the plans for the week. If I achieve half of it, I'll still have achieved something. And I kept doing it. I kept going. I kept going. So that's what I'm saying, guys. It's not because it's any magic pit. You have to get it back. And you might have to start over doing it slowly. You can't be afraid of that. That's just the way it is. You just get up and you do it. And even if it feels hard, you get up and you do it.
Wow. I had never thought about that. I think so many times when things don't go the way we planned,
Mhm.
we just get um, upset. We tend to
Mhm.
disconnect. We don't
Yeah.
want to do it, because we're ruminating on
Mhm.
the past
Yes.
as opposed to, oh, let me get back on track.
Yes. Yes.
Because things have been off track for several years for everyone,
Yes.
but
Yes.
we take it so personal.
Yeah. That's what we do. I went to a friend and spent the weekend. I just needed my son's godmother. We're for like 30 years, and she's been bugging me to come see her because she's moved to this new place. I'm like, you know what? It's quite a pull away, but I'm gonna go. And we had a good time, and we were talking about that. I said, Corona didn't only affect you and your household personally. Each of us took on the world of it after. We, we,
Mhm.
we got friends and family, friends of friends of friends. There's so many marriages that fell apart. There's so many people that we know that lost so many people. There's so many people that suffer in all kind of ways and they don't know how to put it back together. And once you know those people and you've been friends with them for a long time, it's heartbreaking when you hear somebody this happened to them.
Mm,
It's heartbreaking when you know they lost somebody. Um,
yes.
and sometimes subconsciously you take it on for them without realizing, or every time you talk to them and you hear how sad they are, you come away also feeling sad for them. And this morning I
Mhm.
was even telling my daughter, I said, because she woke up late and we woke up late and there was a whole mess in the house. And I said, when we can't sleep at night because we're all worried about something, let us open our Bibles and pray rather than they're walking around and saying this and that. Let's come together and just decide that when there's something that we have no control over, let's just open our Bibles and pray. That way we're not nagging at each other, because what's the fun if we can't come to some agreement of what we could do?
And I think the fact that we think that we have control over things is interesting too. We do what we know to do.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's not to say that things are just out of control.
Exactly.
I'm saying we do what we know to do,
Hmm.
but in the end, you know what I'm saying?
It really is, in the end, it's in the Father's hand. And when you start understanding that and doing the things that you know you're supposed to do,
Hmm.
but allowing him to do the things what he's going to do, life is
Exactly.
not so tight, and you're not fighting so hard on it anymore. You're relaxing,
Hmm.
and you always surprise yourself and how much you still get done when you do this. It's
Hmm.
always this thing that happens. You're like, I didn't need to do that because look, God just worked it out. I didn't need to be so hard on it.
And we just complicate stuff
We
without,
do.
because we're overthinking things.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
we're relying on ourselves.
yeah, yeah. Leave
It's
it
just,
up to him.
yes, everything we set our hand to. But you got to
Exactly.
set your hand to something.
So yeah, you can't just sit there alone and just pray and say to him, drop it in my lap. Like, stop it. That's
Yes.
the part. Like last week, you guys are talking about doing the work. Like, stop it. Like, you got to get in there and do the work.
Hmm.
When you pray, it's when you're praying and you're moving and you're doing things happen. I always tell people, when you're moving, so many things happen. If I get stagnant in any part of my business and I'm not doing it, I just have to get up and do something else. And I just watch how things just flow on the side. You can't just there sit doing. You got to get up and do something. You got to get up and do something, especially
Very.
service-based business people. I know that over time, because I've had both businesses, and you can get complacent when it's service-based. But when it's product, you got to do. So it keeps you in the doing mood. But if people understand when you're in a service-based business, you should stay in products also. That don't mean you have to build a product. It just means you need to understand how product work and be doing it. Because when you're doing it, you do better. You
Mm.
do better because there's a doing that's happening. Sometimes surface based, just say, well, I create everything already. I don't have to do anything. That's not true. If you've created a product, you got to keep marketing it. You got to keep selling it. You have to be actively doing. If you lie to me, you're doing nothing, then nothing happens. The people
Mm.
who have
Mm.
YouTube might not have doing a lot of videos at the moment. They're somewhere else sending people to YouTube still. They're out and about that you got to be doing. You just have to be doing. Stores open every day, whether they make a sale today or not. And believe
Mm.
you me, they make sales because they're open every day that they say they're going to open because that's what they're doing. So you got to get out there and you got to do. And, Terry, you want to add anything before I get to number three?
No, I just wanted. I'm just glad that you stated that we need to get back on track because
Hmm.
we've been through a lot. You know,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
general, I'm speaking in
Yes.
general,
Yeah.
but the globe has been through a lot
Yes.
past 2 or 3 years. Things are
Mhm.
constantly shifting,
Constantly.
and so it's time to get back on track.
Yeah.
The thing that I did see this morning was a what do you call it? A story on the news about how they want people to come back to the office.
Yes. I've been hearing
I
that
don't
here
know if
too.
that's going to happen, but okay.
They've been wanting people to come in a lot of places. I have heard through the grapevine saying yes, work from home, but then they want you to come in 2 to 3 times a week. And so they
Hmm.
gradually, because they can't get out of their leases were, 5, 12 years or whatever.
Yeah,
So they still have to pay that. So they want somebody in there being there because when the building is closed and nothing is happening and functioning, it deteriorates faster. So we know that. Like a building needs human being to be in there. If not, it deteriorates faster.
yes,
And we learned this over time. That's why people who have homes, even if they don't live there, they always have either a house sitter or they'll rent it out because it's much more better than just locking up a home. So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that is
So,
beautiful.
and I've seen in some areas where they're even turning some of these office buildings into housing because there's
Mhm.
so many people who are unsheltered.
Right.
So there's a need for that.
That.
Some people don't want to come back to those office buildings, which I realized years ago. I'm like, oh, this is an opportunity to take these empty spaces and maybe turn them into like hostels. What do
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
people can rent a cot or
Yeah. I hear
anyway,
you.
some form of housing.
Some form of housing. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, I'm done.
All right. That's all right. And then number three is what are we using to track our progress?
Oh,
So there is the pen and paper. Let's get there clearly. Is you can set that up, not hard. Excel, if you're not sure how to use Excel, you can go on YouTube and learn how, or you can put it in a Google Doc and you learn how that way. Google Docs, same as Excel, different little things, but you can, again, go learn how to do it. There's also watches that you can wear that would track whatever you need to track, health for sure. And I was looking at the Google tracker here, and it talks about strides, productive ways. There's just different apps. They got free apps. So I want to say this. There's free apps and they're paid for apps. So you decide what you need. But I
mhm.
like a good Excel because it's just easy. It's not hard to use. Google Docs also is not hard to use, but I do prefer the Excel in Word
Okay.
thing. And you just track your habits. You just pay attention to what you're doing and stop making it this thing where it's hard to do. Because people will say, well, I heard a woman saying this. She says, the time I take to track something, I might as well just do it. The truth of the matter is, when you're not tracking, you don't do it. You lie. You don't
Mm.
do it. You don't do it. When you're tracking, because I've tested myself on both situations, and I realized when you're tracking, you pay more attention. When I used to dance, it's 3 days a week, and people will skip a day or two, and then 3 days, then a whole week they don't come to dance practice, and then they come back and they're wondering why they're having this hard time. And this is what happens when you're not tracking, because you can go days without realizing it's a full week that went by. But if you're
Mm.
tracking, you realize as 2 days hit, 2 day hit because there's got something that you're going into to see. Just as money, when you're tracking your money and you're falling down in sales and your marketing is, you take a dive and you're not paying attention, you'll notice what's happening. Your sales has dropped. That's because you weren't doing the work anymore, because not staying on track. And I first opened my cleaning company, I did a tracker of all the places I was going to advertise. I had five places I was advertising, and I would write down how much it cost me to advertise, how long the advertisement is running, and what was my return. You know, on investment, right? So ROI, I was checking that and I could see, and if I wasn't tracking, I wouldn't know that I need to drop two of the advertisement. They weren't working at all. I gave them 3 months, I gave it 6 months, another 6 months, nothing was coming in. I got rid of it. And I got surprised with the thing that I thought wasn't going to do as well, Yellow Pages those days. And I was like, Yellow Pages is nothing, but I made more than my big clients from Yellow Pages. Thank you very much. And once I see that they were worth the money, I went back in for another year because it wasn't that I got them as often, but when I did get them, I got big contracts. And so that was the kicker. So when I look at my year income from Yellow Pages, it just made sense. I made back, if we were talking dollars, over not double, but 4 to 5 times the amount from using Yellow Pages. And my local newspaper was right there. They were the steady, and the Yellow Pages come right behind. Yelp was not too bad, and word of mouth was on there too, because people sometimes don't think they need to track word of mouth, and here's why.
Mm.
You need to understand the time it take with word of mouth to come to you, so you should track it too, if that was your business, right? So when you're
Exactly.
tracking, you get to see directly from what you're doing, the money that comes to you, the effort you put in, all those things were really there. And that kept my business growing. That little tiny portion, that wasn't the only thing, but that little tiny portion helped. And when I noticed it was helping, I also started doing tracking for hirees, like how
Mhm.
many people I need to hire, who would come on board, how long they're staying with the company, why were they leaving, what was the issue. Like I was tracking those things, so I was able to say, okay, these are the type of people I could hire, these are the people I wouldn't hire. It didn't matter if they tell me they really needed a job, because I realized they wouldn't work out. So I start turning away people, even though they everything looked good on the resume and the interview was good. I could tell they just came to get a few dollars, so those weren't the people I wanted to keep. So those people I didn't hire. But if I wasn't tracking, I wouldn't know. I would just
Mm. Mhm.
feel like a good fit. But it's way more than I liking them and they have availability when I was hiring. You didn't
Mhm.
need to know to clean. You just need to have a good attitude and willing to learn. And people willing to learn understand was long term. And even if you stay with me for 2 years, that was fine. 2 years was a good. I started noticing people stay for 2 years to 3 years, and that was great because we got such a good relationship that when they're ready to leave, they give me good notice and they just help train somebody else that's coming in. I train them and then they train them on the houses. So you want to keep track. Keeping track of your business truly, truly help you progress financially, emotionally too, because you're not freaking out. It's the other part, especially if you're going to hire. When you lose an employee, it really hurts you as
Mhm.
a business owner. But if you're tracking and understand how employees behave and the type of work that keeps them longer or less, and you're tracking that, that somebody's about to leave because cleaning is hard on the physical body, and you say,
Ah.
hey, this person is not going to stay any longer. And if you have the people, like I have my long people who stayed very long with me, it's circumstances that's holding them there. And over discussion time, and how you treat them. And I would lessen the hours, because once again, if I wasn't tracking, I wouldn't know that 40 hours is what everybody work in my cleaning. You only want somebody to work 36 hours, 30 to 36 hours in the cleaning industry. If not, they burn out faster.
Mm.
Tracking, I couldn't have this discussion with you. Tracking is important. This is how tracking is important.
Wow. Okay. I would not have thought of that. When we think about what to track,
Mm-hmm.
yes, if you have employees, you need to be considerate.
Mm-hmm.
So that, yeah, because training is a big investment,
It
and
is.
if you have too much turnover,
Yeah,
it can really bite into your profits.
it can, because when they're on training, you can't, you're basically paying them.
Hmm.
Even if you have a training house, like I had, they pay less for the training house. So time, sometimes we have to step up and cover some of the costs from the training house, especially when mistakes are made and somebody else has to go back and clean, then you lost the
Mm.
whole pay at that time. And that happened a couple of times. So, and even though you might not be going into the cleaning industry, it didn't matter what it is. If they weren't sending the right emails, if it was service based, or excuse me, they weren't posting the right content for you that can really attract and have conversation with your clients. All these things are costing you.
Uh-huh.
All these things will cost you, but you have to pay track. attention. You got to track. Everybody tells people just hire a VA and hand the work over to them. Well, if you were the kind of employee who did not systemize and understand how your business work, the core values and the mission, that person coming in and you're asking them to run your business without knowing anything, that's wrong. To ask somebody to do that because no, it's wrong. No matter what country they're in, it's wrong, and you're gonna complain later because you're expecting them to come and create miracles, which you couldn't even do
Exactly, and
yourself.
read your mind. Expect them to come in and read your mind. So,
Yeah.
guys, you need to know what it is you want to track,
Mm-hmm.
how you want to track it,
Yes.
and how often you want to track
Yes. Yes.
it.
Yes, guys. Yes. Set that up, and I tell you, you'll be surprised with the outcome. And give yourself time when you track it. You don't want
Hmm.
any results in a week. Give yourself the rest of this quarter. If you start today, see what happened in 2 months, and then you plan for the new quarter and see how you can improve on what you have started. That's the other thing, right? So for me, like all my quarters are here. I know what I need to happen for the first quarter, and it's really about that. And the
Hmm.
second, third, and fourth quarter is on my wall. But I am not doing any of those, but I want to have them in plain view because I need to see. I can tell my computer and stuff, but I'm a see girl. So if I'm going crazy, like first quarter is a lot of planting seeds that's happening. I'm planting a
Hmm.
lot of seeds on this first quarter. I'm doing a lot of research on some things that need to be researched. I'm laying a lot of groundwork. And I'm just telling you guys right now, I'm studying to get some things done, specific systems done, so that the rest of the year, I'm not saying, oh my God, I wish I'd have done that. No, 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 no. I'm making the sacrifice to get those things done because last year I couldn't do it because I would overcrowd myself. So I
Hmm.
finish up on my last year stuff. Those are off the books.
Okay.
This is the things, guy. When sorry, I'm going over my time, but when it
Yeah.
get off your books, you don't have to keep coming back and say, "Oh, if I could only finish this thing. Oh, if I could only get this thing done." It's off the books. Those two things are off the books. I am done. I tell people what you don't know, you go do. My bookkeeping is done. Yeah, I didn't really need another diploma, but I needed to study it because I needed my skills brush up. So I took the whole shilada. My taxes that I need to really be able to. I need to talk to people about taxes who not to necessarily do their taxes, but I need to get them in the right frame of mind, not what I read here, there, and whatever. So I needed to study the tax law a little more in depth. So I took a program on it. So I'm done with tax and bookkeeping. So I literally now I feel more confident and equipped that I
Mhm.
actually got it done. Would I have to always brush up? For sure, but I got the core done. So the things that I'm studying and doing now, the second quarter, that's not going to be in my second quarter. You know what I mean? So that's what I
Uh-huh.
want you guys to really hear. Get
Wow.
it done, track it so that the second quarter could be better than the first quarter. And you end the year wonderfully. If you wanted to make $100,000 this year, it is possible. Matter of fact, if you're looking to make $1 million a year, it's possible. We could talk about that. But the point is, you have to know that that's what you want to do and
Hmm.
all the steps that will go in to making sure that happens for you. And that's it for
Hmm.
today.
Well, guys, you heard it here on Biz Chicks, all the way from Coach Caren Fern from Toronto, Canada. If you're looking to connect with Coach Caren, remember you can find her on the web at Profits in Daily.
Yeah.
And so we just encourage you to connect with Coach Caren. I'm looking for your banner, Coach, because I started posting other stuff. I apologize.
That's all right. That's
Guys,
all
let
right.
me just find this because sometimes my enunciation is not what I want it to be. I want to put it in writing right here. Profits in Daily with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada, your money mindset coach.
Yes.
Come on, guys. Let's get our money together for 2023 so
Yes.
that
Yes. Yes.
we can be
Yes.
free. All right, with that, I want to remind you it's okay to make money in your business. Now, if you are looking for help with your tech, that's what BizChicks does. Give us a call. We'll be glad to help you with your social media and things of that nature. We got some great things that'll make it easier for you. And
Right.
with that, we want to remind you hey, go to the front of your
Grab your
own
own
line.
line. Yes.
Have a great day, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be talking tech and English with Robin Shimizu and friends.
Friends. Yes.
Bye bye, everyone. Thanks again, Coach, for
Oh,
all
you're
that you
welcome.
do. Oh, my goodness. Bye bye.